Once upon a time, there was a land nestled among rolling hills and whispering streams, lay the village of Umudike. Umudike was known for its rich traditions, vibrant festivals, and most importantly, its revered king, Eze Omenka. The villagers spoke of him with a blend of awe and affection, for he was not just a ruler, but a guardian of their ancient customs. One fateful year, however, the air grew thick with unease. Eze Omenka fell gravely ill, a sickness unlike any the villagers had seen. His once robust frame withered, his voice, that had once commanded with the strength of a lion, now barely a whisper. The finest Dibias, traditional healers of the land, tried their best, but their herbs and incantations offered no relief. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the village, a council of the elders convened. The oldest and wisest among them, Nzi Okonkwo, spoke of an ancient remedy hidden deep within the heart of the forbidden forest, known as Ajo Nkata. This forest was no ordinary one. It was shrouded in mystery and fear, a place where the bravest warriors dared not venture. It was said to be the dwelling place of spirits and creatures beyond human understanding. Ajo Nkata holds the Ebe Amuru Osisi, the root of life. Nze Okonkwo began, his voice trembling slightly. It is the only herb that can save our Ize, but it is guarded by the spirits of our ancestors and creatures of the night. No one has ventured into its depths and returned. The council fell silent, the weight of the task settling heavily upon them. Volunteers were called for, but none stepped forward. The fear of Ajo Nkata was too great, its legends too terrifying. Just as hope seemed to wane, a young warrior named Obina rose to his feet. He was known for his courage and loyalty, and his heart burned with determination to save his king. "I will go," Obina declared, his voice steady. "I will bring back the Ebe Amuru Osisi." The village erupted in murmurs, half in admiration of his bravery, half in fear for his safety. His mother, Nena, wept silently, but she knew better than to try to dissuade her son. The survival of their king depended on this perilous quest. On the morning of his departure, the entire village gathered to see Obina off. The Dibias prepared him with protective charms and a satchel filled with provisions. Nze Okonkwo handed him a small, intricately carved staff. "This staff," he said, "is imbued with the power of our ancestors. It will guide and protect you." Obina set off, his heart a mixture of resolve and trepidation. The path to Ajo Nkata grew wilder and more treacherous with each step. The trees seemed to close in around him, their branches whispering secrets of the ages. The sun, once a comforting companion, now seemed to abandon him as he ventured deeper into the forest. As night fell, the forest came alive with eerie sounds. Owls hooted ominously, and unseen creatures rustled in the underbrush. Obina clutched the staff tightly, feeling the ancestral power thrumming through it. He remembered the stories his grandmother told him as a child, stories of the spirits that roamed these woods. He had always believed them to be mere tales, but now, surrounded by the darkness and the unknown, he was not so sure. Suddenly, a chilling howl pierced the night. Obina froze, his heart pounding in his chest. He had heard stories of the Nkita Muo, the ghostly dogs that were said to guard the forest. Their howls were a harbinger of doom, and those who heard them rarely lived to tell the tale. The howling grew closer, and in the dim light, Obina saw glowing eyes staring at him from the shadows. Summoning his courage, he raised the staff and invoked a prayer to the ancestors. The eyes seemed to hesitate, and for a moment, the howling ceased. But then, with a burst of speed, the creatures lunged at him. Obina swung the staff, and a blinding light erupted from it, sending the ghostly dogs scattering into the darkness. Breathing heavily, Obina pressed on, deeper into the heart of Ajo Nkata. He knew the Ebe Amuru Osisi would be found near the oldest and largest tree in the forest, a tree that was said to touch the heavens and roots that reached the underworld. Hours turned into days as he navigated the labyrinth of trees, each step a battle against the fear that gnawed at his resolve. On the third night, he came upon a clearing bathed in an ethereal glow. In the center stood the legendary tree, its massive trunk and sprawling branches exuding an ancient power. Obina approached with reverence, knowing he was in the presence of something far greater than himself. At the base of the tree, nestled among the roots, he saw it, the Ibe Amuru Osisi, its leaves shimmering with a faint otherworldly light. As he reached out to pluck the herb, a cold wind swept through the clearing, and the spirits of the forest materialized before him. They were the guardians, the ancestors whose duty it was to protect the sacred herb. Their eyes full of wisdom and sorrow bore into Obina's soul. "Why do you seek the root of life?" one of them intoned, their voice echoing like the rustle of leaves. Obina, heart pounding, spoke with the utmost respect. "I seek it to save Ezeomenka, our king. He is gravely ill, and only this herb can heal him." The spirits conferred among themselves, their whispers mingling with the wind. Finally they turned to him. "The root of life is not given freely. You must prove your worthiness." Obina nodded, steeling himself for whatever test lay ahead. "I am ready," he said. The spirits circled him, their forms becoming more solid, more imposing. "To save your king, you must face the darkness within yourself. Only then will you be worthy of the Ibe Amuru Osisi." Obina stood in the clearing, the spirits of the forest encircling him like a living wall of mist and shadow. Their presence was both comforting and intimidating, the weight of their gaze pressing upon him. He closed his eyes, drawing a deep breath as he prepared to face the darkness within himself. "Show me," he whispered, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at his insides. The spirits chanted in unison, their words blending into an otherworldly hum. The air grew colder, and the ground beneath Obina's feet seemed to vanish. He felt himself falling, not through space, but through time and memory. Scenes from his past flashed before his eyes, his childhood, moments of joy and sorrow, victories and regrets. Suddenly, he found himself standing in a familiar place, a small, dimly lit hut. His father lay on a mat, his face gaunt and eyes hollow. Obina was a boy again, kneeling by his father's side, tears streaming down his cheeks. "Papa, please don't leave me," young Obina pleaded, his voice choked with emotion. His father reached out, his hand trembling. "Obina, my son," he rasped, "you must be strong. You must protect our village, our people." The memory shifted, and Obina saw himself, older now, training with his father's spear. He remembered the anger and bitterness he felt after his father's death, how he threw himself into his training, pushing away everyone who tried to get close. He had blamed himself for not being able to save his father, carrying that guilt like a heavy cloak. Obina's heart ached as he relived these moments, but he knew what he had to do. He faced the memory of his father, standing tall despite the pain. "Father," he said, his voice breaking, "I have carried this guilt for too long. I couldn't save you, but I have tried to honor your memory by protecting our people. I am ready to forgive myself and let go of this burden." As he spoke, the scene began to dissolve, the hut and his father fading into the mist. The darkness that had enveloped him started to lift, replaced by a warm golden light. Obina felt a sense of peace he hadn't known in years, the weight of his past finally lifting from his shoulders. The spirits reappeared, their forms more defined, their eyes softer. "You have faced your inner darkness and emerged stronger," one of them said. "You have proven your worthiness, Obina." With a gentle gesture, the spirit directed Obina's attention back to the great tree. The Ibe Amuru Osisi glowed brighter, as if acknowledging his courage and resolve. Obina stepped forward and carefully plucked the herb, feeling its power thrumming in his hand. The spirits bowed slightly, a gesture of respect and approval. "Go now and save your king," they intoned. "May the strength and wisdom of your ancestors guide you." Obina nodded, his heart swelling with gratitude and determination. He tucked the herb safely into his satchel and began the journey back to Umudike. The forest seemed less menacing now, the path clearer and the shadows less daunting.